Did anyone else notice the ironic hypocrisy of a convicted felon preaching the return of law and order before pardoning 1,500 violent traitors? Just when I thought I was done licking my wounds from Election Day, the inauguration broke me again. Today's January 23rd, 2025. Let's do this. I don't know which is deeper, the bullshit or the hypocrisy. The informed people of this country live in two separate informational universes. Um, Basically, Fox News versus MSNBC. I occasionally watch the other side to see what evil wants stupid to believe. But most people are somewhere in between, getting their information conversationally or through social media. Um, and because the right wing is blatantly using false Nazi propaganda, it created a land of delusion. And now it's not enough that the traitors won and got away with domestic terror, but now Congress has created a second January 6th committee to rewrite history and gaslight the witnesses. The newly pardoned traitoriots want retribution against law-abiding citizens that tried to hold them accountable for their treasonous crimes. I saw the entire thing live and in real time, and I have a crystal clear memory of that day. Um, I also remember that night and the next day when Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, and Elise Stefanik, and all the MAGA hypocrite youth denouncing it and suggesting Trump be held accountable in the immediate aftermath before turning traitor and defending it later. Um, Joseph Goebbels was Hitler's propaganda minister, and all you have to do is read his quotes and look around. You know, make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they'll believe it. Sound familiar? The most brilliant propagandist technique will yield no success unless one fundamental principle is borne in mind constantly. It must confine itself to a few points and repeat them over and over. It would not be impossible to prove without sufficient repetition, to prove with sufficient repetition and a psychological understanding of the people concerned that a square is in fact a circle. They are mere words, and words can be molded until they clothe ideas and disguise. And you can't change the masses. They will always be the same, dumb, gluttonous, and forgetful. That's the Fox News business model. That's all three of Trump's presidential campaigns. That's the current Republican Party platform. It's because Nazi propaganda works, it's the 2024 election. So it turns out all these people calling me communist vermin are just Nazi fascist traitors anyway. I already knew that before Trump banned fact-checking with an executive order. Free speech has now been expanded to include hate and fraud. Elon Musk felt so emboldened about it on Inauguration Day. I mean, in the 92 years since Hitler took power in Germany, no one has ever given a Nazi salute accidentally. I don't even want to hear that shit. And then they tried to make people believe that he was overly excited because he's autistic. My two autistic sons have never given a Nazi salute. I think I might be autistic. We didn't know what it was when I was a kid. They just called it, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I've never given a Nazi salute. And if it's autism, I mean, it's not, but then why does Elon deserve so much more benefit of the doubt than Gus Walls did when his pride for his father brought him to tears and they ripped his ass to shreds, a teenage boy? just for being liberal, but you'll still defend an obvious Nazi billionaire because he's on your side. Meritocracy sounds all well and good at face value, except Republicans rarely do anything at face value or negotiate in good faith. You can't own the libs by following stupid rules. So meritocracy is actually Republican code speak for institutionalized racism and misogyny. Wink, wink. When it comes down to it, in their tiny narcissistic minds, every single woman or minority that's ever been hired for any job is DEI or affirmative action, because there's always a more qualified white man that got screwed out of that job. And if you paid any attention in the last 3 days, you can see that the path to meritocracy is to legalize discrimination. 60 years of civil rights were flushed down the toilet on Martin Luther King Day. Most of Trump's executive orders are for show and a bit outrageous, reinstating anti-vaxxers with back pay and ending work from home, or just responses for old COVID propaganda to appease their moronic base. There's no emergency at the southern border, and there aren't a band of terrorists waiting on the other side. The truth is that Biden already fixed it. Legal crossings were already lower than in Trump's first term. But there's a deeper, darker agenda emerging from this pattern. Why would Republicans be using war-type language like invasion and occupation if they weren't planning on invading and occupying Mexico in the future, or at least setting up the military to take prisoners? You know, soldiers don't have authority to make arrests unless it's called an invasion. One of the missions in Trump's inauguration speech was to expand our territory in our new golden age. And Trump has already brought up the possibilities of annexing Greenland, Canada, and Panama. Of course, that's all just spit in the face of the voters that elected him because he promised to end the wars and not start anymore. I'm sure they'll get used to it. There's been a whole lot of face spitting in the last 3 days. Only 1,458 to go if you still believe in next time. Besides pardoning the 1,500 traitriots on day one, Trump continued the Republicans' assault on the 14th Amendment by attempting to eliminate birthright citizenship with an executive order. Republicans hate the 14th Amendment. It established the right to privacy, which the 1971 Supreme Court used to justify Roe v. Wade. It prohibits insurrectionists from taking office, which caused Colorado, Maine, and several other states to try to remove Trump from the ballot last year. And now they're pissing on the very first line that says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. There's no ambiguity there. There's only one translation to those words. That's why a Reagan-appointed judge laughed that bullshit out of his courtroom today and called it blatantly unconstitutional. I doubt it will matter much. We've seen this movie already where every lower court upholds the law until they get up to the only one that matters. And the current Supreme Court overturned Roe, forced Trump back on the ballot, and give him total immunity from his corruption. They have boldly put Project 2025 ahead of the Constitution since 2023. And with the likes of Leonard Leo and Harlan Crow funding corruption, code spits in the face of the American people too. And the funniest part is when John Roberts acts all dumbfounded, he can't understand how abusing the power of a lifetime appointment, Alito turning his flag upside down, and Gorsuch writing law for the ages when his job is just to interpret it, might cause people to make death threats. One last thing before I go. The supposed assassination attempt on Brett Kavanaugh a couple of years ago was just a man having a mental health episode in Kavanaugh's neighborhood. He was blocks away from his house, and he called the police on himself because he didn't know where to find it. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you speak the truth, you're always right. Peace.